The rain had been falling for 3 days without pause, turning the dirt paths of the little village into thick brown rivers. Inside a crumbling cottage at the edge of the forest, an old woman lay on a wooden bed, her breaths shallow and uneven. Around her, 4 sons stood in silence, each fighting the same ache of helplessness. "I can fix the roof, bring more wood, anything you need," said the eldest, Rowan, a tall man with calloused hands and eyes that carried too much responsibility for his age. The old woman smiled faintly. "I do not need a roof, my dear. I need to see my boys together again. You've all gone in your own directions, clever as you are, but I'd like to see you remember what that cleverness is for." Outside, thunder rolled across the valley. Inside, 4 brothers looked at each other, strangers bound by blood and guilt. The beginning of their journey. When their father died years ago, each brother left to find his own way in the world. Rowan became a carpenter, proud and practical. Ash, the second, studied herbs and healing under a traveling doctor. Finn, the third, learned words, not just how to speak them but how to twist them into songs, stories, and lies. And the youngest, Leo, was a thinker, the kind who spent nights staring at stars and asking questions too large for anyone to answer. They had not been together since the funeral. And now, their mother's fading life had brought them back to the same roof. That night, she took their hands in hers, one by one. "There is something I never told you," she said weakly. "Your father once saved a king's life. The king promised that one day, if ever we needed help, we could go to his court and claim a single favor. But listen to me, if you go, go together. Promise me that." She died before dawn. The pact. They buried her under the tall oak near the stream, the one she used to sit beneath in the evenings. Afterward, none of them spoke for a long while. Finally, Ash broke the silence. "She wanted us to go to the king. Maybe that's what we should do. Her dying wish." Rowan frowned. "And what would we ask for? Gold? Land? None of that will bring her back." Finn brushed mud off his boots and looked up with a faint smirk. "You never know, brother. Sometimes words can do what hands cannot. Let's find out what a king's promise is worth." Leo said nothing. He only looked toward the horizon, where the morning mist curled like smoke over the trees. At last, Rowan nodded. "Then it's decided. We'll go together." The road to the king. The journey to the capital took 7 days. They passed through dense forests, crossed swollen rivers, and slept under skies heavy with stars. Along the way, the brothers rediscovered fragments of the bond they'd lost. Ash gathered herbs to ease Rowan's aching back. Finn told stories by the fire that made Leo laugh until tears came. Rowan fixed a broken wagon wheel for a passing traveler who rewarded them with bread. And Leo, quiet as ever, watched and learned. By the time they reached the golden gates of the city, they no longer felt like strangers. But what awaited them inside would test them far more than grief ever had. The king's challenge. The king was old now, with eyes like dim coins and a crown that seemed too heavy for his thin frame. When the 4 brothers knelt before him and explained who they were, he smiled softly. "I remember your father," he said. "A brave man. He saved my life from an assassin's blade when no one else dared to move. You have his eyes. What favor do you seek?" The brothers exchanged uncertain looks. None of them had truly decided what they wanted. Rowan stepped forward first. "Your Majesty, we only wish for a chance to prove ourselves worthy of our father's name." The king raised an eyebrow. "A noble request, but vague. How shall I test your worth?" He paused, then turned to his advisors. After a brief whispering, he said, "In 7 days, a beast will come to this city. It's been terrorizing the villages, a creature from the mountains, half lion, half serpent. Whoever captures it alive will earn anything he asks of me." Rowan bowed. "Then we accept." The cleverness of each brother. They set up camp at the edge of the forest where the beast was last seen. Each brother brought something different to the plan. Rowan built traps strong enough to hold an ox. Ash brewed tranquilizing herbs into darts. Finn used his voice to lure animals from hiding, mimicking the cries of prey. And Leo, always thinking ahead, studied the terrain, drawing maps and calculating where the beast might move next. For days, they saw nothing but claw marks and bones. Tension began to grow. One night, by the fire, Finn said bitterly, "Maybe the king sent us on a fool's errand. Maybe there's no beast at all." Rowan glared at him. "If you want to quit, quit. But I'll finish what we started." Leo interrupted quietly, "It's not a fool's errand. The beast is real. I found tracks near the river. It drinks only when the moon is full. That's tomorrow." Ash looked at his youngest brother with a spark of respect. "Then tomorrow we hunt. The night of the hunt." The full moon rose like a silver coin over the treetops. The brothers waited in silence near the river, their traps set and weapons ready. Then came a sound, a low growl that made the air tremble. The beast emerged, scales glinting under the moonlight, eyes burning gold. Rowan's trap snapped shut, but the creature was too strong. It tore through wood and rope as if they were grass. Ash fired his dart, striking its neck, but the poison only slowed it. Finn shouted to distract it, weaving words into rhythm, his voice rising and falling like a spell. The beast turned toward him, just long enough for Leo to leap forward with a net woven from iron wire. Together, they pulled, strained, and shouted until at last the creature collapsed, exhausted and bound. For a moment, there was silence, then laughter. Not mocking or proud, but the kind that comes from pure relief. The king's reward. When they returned to the palace with the captured beast, the king himself came to see it. "You have done what no knight could," he said. "Name your reward." Rowan was the first to speak. "Your Majesty, give each of us what we need most." The king smiled. "Very well. But I will decide what that is." He turned to each brother in turn. To Rowan, he said, "I grant peace. You have carried the weight of others for too long." To Ash, "I grant purpose. You heal others, but you've never healed yourself." To Finn, "I grant truth. Your tongue is clever, but your heart hides behind lies." And to Leo, the king said, his voice softening, "I grant understanding. For you seek meaning where others see only chaos." Before they could respond, the beast stirred. Its eyes flashed open, and with a roar, it broke its chains, scattering guards like leaves. Chaos erupted. The twist. Rowan grabbed his sword. "We have to kill it." "No." Leo shouted. "It's not attacking, it's afraid." The creature lunged toward the king, who stumbled back in terror. Without thinking, Finn threw himself in front of him. The beast struck, claws slicing through his shoulder before Ash's dart found its mark again. Finn collapsed, blood pooling beneath him. The beast shuddered, then fell still. The courtyard went quiet except for Finn's ragged breathing. Leo knelt beside him. "Stay with me." Finn smiled weakly. "Guess. I finally did something true." Then he went still. The cost of cleverness. The king ordered that Finn be buried with honor in the royal garden. He kept his word and granted each brother his promised gift, though not in the way any of them expected. Rowan, freed from duty, left the city and built a quiet home by the river, where no one asked anything of him. Ash became the royal physician, devoting his life to saving others, but he never smiled again. Leo stayed at the palace, studying the beast that had taken his brother's life. He discovered it wasn't a monster at all, but a creature created by the king's own alchemists, an experiment gone wrong. When Leo brought this truth to the king, the old man only looked away. "Some knowledge," he said, "should stay buried. Leo understood then what his gift of understanding truly meant, the burden of knowing what others chose to forget.